Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming I got video here. I probably should have, yeah, I probably should have made sure that this was on. All right, guys, what's up? It is none other than your boy JGiddins the Father. Um, as usual, geez, let me make sure I get this right. As usual, I just want to remind you guys to remember to be positive, optimistic, and keep positive people in your circle. To all my people on Instagram, give me 2 seconds, man. I'm just trying to make sure that you guys get a decent angle as well. All right, so again, good morning, everybody. There was not really much of a purpose for me doing this live outside of me just sort of promoting promoting an interaction between myself and my supporters, my followers, my audience, whoever it is that thinks that parenting and fatherhood is as important as I do. And I just want to say that I love you guys, man. I'm pretty sure if I would have run into a lot of y'all on the street or something, if I saw you, your first question might be, "Hey, man, how are you? How's it going? How's everything?" Right? So that's, I guess, what this kind of is. And I want to kind of get in the habit of doing that because my life is going through a lot of different changes, which some may or may not know. But yeah, a lot of things are just changing in terms of my personal life. And I want to sort of incorporate social media and my public figureness, if you will, more than ever as of right now, right? Like as of today, right? So at this point, my goal is to build a relationship. My goal is to be your buddy, to be your friend, to be your mans, to be your homie, to be whatever it is that you view somebody who, you would want to give viewership to, right? Just so that you guys know, before I erase this board, because I was going to use it. If you guys don't know, I also have a page called JGiddins the Athlete, right? The reason I tell you about this, and this is a list of the workouts that I did today. The reason I tell you this is because it's really important that you take care of your health on many different levels, not just physically, but mentally. It's very important that you take care of your health and that you keep yourself healthy. If taking care of your kids is your top priority and your primary concern. So what I've been doing is trying to make sure that physically I am healthy. I used to be a lot more healthy than I am now in terms of, like fitness, exercise. There was one point I was kind of bodybuilding in my life, like around 2013, 12-ish, I believe it was. But, and there was a point where I used to play basketball multiple times a week. So I automatically had, certain stamina and certain strength, core strength that you get from playing basketball. I mean, basketball will give you a lot of strength. I'm erasing this board, by the way, so that I can write down anything that I decide that I want to write down while I'm doing this, right? So, what's up, Sierra? I appreciate you stopping through. There wasn't a real purpose to me doing this live outside of just, again, making myself available and talking to people, man. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times I post things about parenting and promoting fatherhood and such, but it doesn't really stick. Like people can see the post and they can say, "Oh, that's great," and then they just keep on moving, man. But what I want to do is try to penetrate the soul of you folks, right? I want to try to build a better relationship. I can't expect people to just automatically take to the things that I say. And if it's, if I'm being completely honest, if my goal truly is to assure that I'm making a difference in people's lives, whether it be children, parents, or whoever it is, building a relationship is relatively important, right? So one thing I wanted to touch on, especially for my Instagram followers, if you don't follow me, by the way, to my YouTube watchers during this stream, please follow me on Instagram at JGiddins the Father. Okay, same as you see it here on YouTube, except no spaces in between JGiddins the and Father. And I say that just because there's a lot of information that I have there that you may not see here. But on one of my videos, there's a friend of mine named Dante, who is a fellow father, and he was talking to me about the possibility of us maybe getting together and trying to unite fathers and come up with some sort of a organizational representation of fatherhood, on a daily basis, on social media at least, right? And the thing that had come up was like cooking for your kids, or maybe like doing a quick session where we're cooking for our kids and we're talking about it. Maybe we can all be on live streaming together. I can host it if need be. I do have a web stream service that I use that will allow me to fit different people in. So that's something that I definitely want to do. What I really want to do at this point is sort of turn that from an idea into an actual thing. So what I'm going to say now is, if you're watching this, and hopefully most people made it into, I should have started with this, but if you're watching this and you're a father and you support fatherhood, you support parenting, you support fathers being more engaged in their life and in their children's lives, and you want to make sure that they feel valuable, you want to play a role in contributing to fatherhood in our society, please DM me. Okay, DM me, send me a message, or communicate with me. There's plenty of father pages like Fathers Lives Matter, I Miss My Children, Fathers Are Important, Fighting the Father, Justice for Jace, Daddy Times, Daddy VTs, Dad Gang. I mean, there's a bunch of them that I can name off the top of my head. Great Black fathers, that do support some of the same ideology that I do. I would like to work alongside any of them, plus anybody else. It doesn't have to be a page. It can be just a guy. You know what I mean? We represent something that is very important in our society, and something that is a huge part of why we see so much negativity and so many unproductive members of our society, right? So, the first thing, I guess, let me just put a note here for myself, right? Because I want to make sure. I hope you guys can hear me clearly, by the way. I didn't even like do a mic check and make sure everything was okay. I think somebody's watching. If you are watching, do me a favor, just let me know if you can hear me, at least on YouTube. I'm assuming you can hear me on Instagram too. Sometimes my mic will get covered up depending on how I angle my phone. So if anybody's watching right now on the live stream, just kind of put a message in there and just say, hey, I can hear you, or something, or a thumbs up or something. But so one of the bullet points that I wanted to put on here for the reason that I was reaching out was to establish connections, right? So we're just going to say establish connections with other fathers. The goal here is to sort of get some sort of a routine in place, if we can, or something that we can, to come up with a daily way to support fatherhood. There's a lot of videos on my page. I should probably start maybe like clipping these videos and sharing them a lot more, but there's a lot of videos on the page that are a wealth of information, man. And I feel like people just kind of don't understand, or maybe know the importance of it on a daily basis in terms of how you interact with your child. One of the ones that I always like to bring up, because this is one of my favorite ones that I think will transform a father's ability to parent their child. There's a video that I did called Manufacturing a Bond Between Yourself and Your Child. And, the reason that I think that one is so important is because it highlights the lack of, some let me just say this. Sometimes fathers lack the innate ability to care and love the way that a mother does. And I feel like it's our obligation, or it's our responsibility to, to fix that. As a father, you can't just say, well, I don't do the same things for my kids, so they're better off with their mom. You have to fix that. The same way, if, for instance, your rent was $2,000 a month and your income was $1,500, you can't just look at it and say, well, that's just how things are. You have to fix that. You have to get more income. You have to figure out a way to resolve the issue. So in the event that you're a parent, you're a father, and you feel like you are lacking in the department of love, or you feel, there's certain things that just crush you as a father. For instance, to hear your child call you by your name. You know what I mean? What's up, Giving Back Always? Thank you for stopping by. Little things like, can you hear me okay, Giving Back? I'm assuming you can, but just give like a thumbs up or something to let me know you can. But little things like having your child call you by your name. You understand? Like, a lot of people don't understand the pain associated with that. Now, I've never had that happen because I've been like extremely involved in all my children's lives. However, if I was one of those parents, sometimes you may be awesome. I'm glad you can hear me, boss. If you are one of those parents who may have been a weekend or holiday dad, and it's not because you want to be, it's because life programs you to think that's what you're supposed to be. Growing up, all the people who you idolize, look up to, none of them come to you and say the words to you fathers matter. None of them say to you, when you grow up, make sure you're a great father. They say things like, make sure you go to college, make sure you get a good job, make sure you make money, make sure you have a nice house, nice car. But nobody emphasizes the importance of being a good father, being a good role model. Those things are not valued. And it's funny, I did another video, as I'm on the topic of speaking of videos that I've done. I did another video recently, which I titled Validity or Validation, Self-Worth, and validation, self-worth, and value. And the reason I did that video is because a lot of the reason why fathers are not able to a lot of the reason why fathers are not able to get the stamina, if you will, that they need to fight these battles in court, to fight these battles outside of court, to fight the battles to save their child. A lot of the reason why they can't do that is because they lack the value, they lack they lack the self-worth, and a lot of it comes from again, what I said was validation. Let me write this down, right? I'm gonna try to make this short, guys. I don't want to like harp on it or anything, but I gotta like let you know what I mean. Validation, self-worth, and value, right? I don't know if you can even see that, right? So validation refers to what makes you feel good. It just refers to what makes you feel good, what makes you feel confident, what makes you feel like you can do it, right? As a man, a lot of the things that give us validation and make us feel a certain validity of our manhood are not associated with good parenting, right? So things like having multiple women, right, which is a direct, that's something you don't want in a good parent. Things like having a lot of money, having expensive clothing, having just relationships with people who have power and influence. All of those kind of things are what validate men in today's age. What has to happen is we have to shift that validation. Now that's where manufacturing a bond comes in. You have to set yourself up to feel validated by different things, right? So as of right now, you may feel validated by having money and clothes because the surrounding that you have validates that. So if you have a bunch of homeboys who, get together in their car club with all their nice rims and go out to the club and holler at chicks in the parking lot, obviously your validation is going to come from how many chicks you got, how fresh you are, how much clothes you got. If you are one of those people who's validated by how many women you have, your feeling of validation and confidence and self-worth, which is the second thing that I went into, right? Which you guys can't see because I wrote it in blue like a silly guy. But the self-worth piece of it, that will come, that the self-worth more so refers to how you feel about yourself, right? So the validation is what gives you self-worth. Self-worth is what you get from being validated, and value is what that self-worth is capable of doing, right? So if your self-worth, if your validation is material things, objects, then your self-worth is going to be objectified. You yourself are going to objectify yourself. You're going to think of yourself as an object, so as a tool, if you will. So how can you feel valuable? Well, let me step back. You can feel valuable. However, the value that you have is one that does not support your child. That's what we need to understand. So you may have value, but your value comes from, or your value more so supports the things that are keeping your child from making it, right? So what we have to do when I say manufacture a bond is create situations, relationships, create an environment where you have to be a good dad in order to have validation, right? So what I did was in my case, because I was sort of kind of forced to validate myself. I was forced to step into this 100% dad role, that I was in, because it was either that or my children won't make it. My children were suicidal. You know what I mean? Both of my daughters attempted suicide and have spoken on it because of me being ripped from their life. So I was in a situation where I had to either step up and make sure that I, changed my life so that I was validated in a way that gave me self-worth that was valuable to my daughters, right? So that's validation, self-worth, and value, right? So the way that you do that, if you say, okay, that sounds nice, but what do you do to do that? So to do that, really what you have to do is create an environment or atmosphere that validates it. What I did was I used social media, right? So I created JGiddins the Father. I actually had JGiddins the artist first, because those who know me know that I'm an artist too. Hip hop, rap, is what I more so focus on. Although I'm not a big fan of rap, because it's really just like creative ways to kill black people. Is really all it sounds like to me. It sounds like they're KKK people that are hired or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I listen to rap, I'm just like, they're just creatively talking about killing black people. I'm not into that. But anyway, my version of it was to get into the mind. That's why I wanted to be an artist, because I realized that the people in my community, which fail on the end of fatherhood, their minds are able to be infiltrated through music. I think those who seek to destroy us understand this better than we do, right? So because of the fact that I realized that, I started kind of making music and trying to make music that was positive and positive, but also relatable. You know what I mean? So you have to have sort of a tone and sort of a and when I say tone, I don't mean how loud your voice is. I mean the feel, the atmosphere of your music. You have to have one that they're going to be willing to accept. And when I say they, I mean those of the communities that are disparaged and lacking fatherhood, right? You can't, Anyway, my point is, when I made JGiddins the artist, I extended that to JGiddins the Father and sort of created a surrounding where there were tons of fathers and those that support parenthood around me. What that does is every day I wake up, the first thing on my mind is fatherhood. The first thing on my mind is, how we're all attached to social media. I mean, even those who are not attached to social media are still attached to social media, because they're attached to the fact that they're not attached to social media. Like, you know what I mean? People who are not attached to social media, all you hear them do is talk about how they're not attached to social media. They love to brag about, I don't get online. I don't need the internet, whatever. Yes, you do. And even if they don't, those people, they're the people who still want to ride horses in 2000. They're the people who still want to mail in checks to pay bills. Listen, you have to get with the, you know what I mean? You have to get with the program when it comes to just when it comes to moving on in life. But anyway, my point was that the real thing I wanted to share with other fathers out there is this, again, validation, self-worth, and value. You want to make sure you create an atmosphere surrounding that supports fatherhood. Don't surround yourself with people who are going to validate you with things that are not good for your children, right? If your self-worth comes from being validated on material things, on how much money you have, clothes, all this stupid stuff that they put in our community to make sure that fathers don't exist, detach yourself. You know what I mean? I have like one of the biggest family ever, and as of right now, I have no family, right? And that's a conscious decision you have to make. That's what men do. That's what men do, and that's what real fathers do. It's easy to cop out and just say, well, I'll just lay back. But you have to do those tough things, especially when you're put in a position where your child's well-being is on the line. It's up to whether or not that's more important to you. I guess, some people, listen, a lot of what I say is going to push a lot of people away. That's why I have to slow down a little bit, because there's a lot of fathers out there who don't really understand their own value. When you start talking to them about what they can do and their role as a parent, they start to push back. They immediately don't even want to involve themselves, because they've been programmed to believe that they come second, that it's not their job. It's not their role to raise the parent. They say stuff like, oh, well, I'll let her do it. Oh, I'll just pay child support and let her do it. All that stuff is a cop-out. Now, I will also say in some instances, it may be best, right? So if that's also something I would say is a responsibility of a parent or a man, really, is being able to understand your own your own value to your child, right? If you're in a position where you know that you are not what's best for your child, you know that you do inappropriate things around or in front of or to your child, certain things like that. There's just certain things that people who know me know will never happen, right? You're not going to curse around my daughters. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to speak inappropriately around my daughters. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to talk about things that are inappropriate. You're not going to reference things that are inappropriate. You're not going to speak about things that are violent. All of those things, none of that is going to happen around me. And that's the reason I don't have friends. You know what I mean? I don't care to. I do have friends. However, that's the reason I don't have the friends that I used to have. And I feel like being a good father, being that true parent that you can be to your child, is a conscious decision you have to make. You have to make a decision on whether or not you want to be a dad or you want to keep being this little boy that you've been being your whole life. You have to pick. And at the end of the day, once you make that decision, it's very satisfying. I promise you, it's very self-satisfying. I can look people in their eyes that I used to not be able to and tell them that I'm confident in what I said. I don't let people question me, because you cannot question me. My fatherhood is not to be questioned. You can learn from it, but you cannot question it. And once you reach that level of confidence, you'll feel a lot better about yourself. I promise you. Certain arguments that you used to have, certain feelings that you used to have when people say certain things to you, and fathers know what I mean, right? You know what those women say things to you to pick at you. You know, they say stuff that will chop you down inside. You know, they do things that will, stuff like telling their child to call another man daddy. You know what I mean? Trying to do it in front of you, or having the child call you while they're in front of somebody that you don't like. And, you know, all those kind of things, making the child cry during exchanges so that it feels like the child doesn't want to be with you. All those little things will pick at you, man, and they will destroy you. And guys, because we have such a hard problem with admitting when something is tough, when something is rough, we're taught you got to be hard no matter what. If you cry, you're a chump. If you show that you're weak, you're a chump. You know, that's what you're taught. You know what I mean? If you unfortunately didn't have a good influence in your life. I was one of those people who did not have one. I didn't grow up, I would say, until I was maybe 27. Honestly and truthfully, I was a boy until I was 27 years old. That's when I really realized what life was, what being a man was, because I didn't have a man. I didn't have my father. All I had was a bunch of women telling me how fathers don't matter. All I had was a bunch of women dictating to me what the role a father should play in a relationship is, when they don't know what a father is. Like, I mean, honestly, if you really sit and think about it, all the women that sit there and talk about this man, father this, they don't know what a father is. Like, they honestly don't. So how can you expect them to? You have to find that yourself. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the same way a woman can't raise a son. I mean, she can raise a son, but that son is not going to turn out a man the way he should. He's going to idolize her. He's going to want to do what she does. He's going to want to act like her. He's going to want everything she has, because that's mommy. I was a mama's boy, so I kind of know, you know, from personal experience. When there's no man around, things are completely different. Women also have let's not go into that. What we really want to focus on is men and fatherhood. What we have to do as men is stop complaining. That's one thing I want to say to my fathers out there, to my men out there. Stop complaining. Okay, we don't need the complaints. We don't need, oh, well, you know, she did this, she did that. Listen, did you go to court yet? That's my question. Did you go to court yet? And if you know your children are not in a situation where their lives are at jeopardy, or their lives are at risk, or their well-being is at risk, or you think that they're going to be raised, you know, in a way that you may not be able to handle later. So, like, for instance, in my case, if you have little girls, I can't let my little girls be raised by, you know, someone who lacks intelligence, because once they get 16, 17, they'll be out of control. You understand? That is vital for you to step in. You cannot sit back and just pretend everything's okay. There's so many guys, they go over their baby mama's house, if you will, right? And the baby mama sitting there playing, you know, crazy, wild music, twerking in front of the kid, doing all of this stuff. And the guys, the father's just sitting there like, man, that shouldn't be happening, man. Why is she doing that? You know, or they go to their friends and complain, man, my baby mother, she always doing such and such. I don't do that in front of my kid. Okay, what you telling me for? Go tell the judge that and go get the kids taken from her. If she want to fight and stall all of that stuff, that's cool. Record it, document it, take it to court and tell them. If you're one of those people that's saying, you know what I mean, gotta disagree with a strong, good woman can raise a good man, I would expect that, Sean. I'll be completely honest with you. I would expect you to disagree with me, to be completely honest with you. But again, at the end of the day, my point is, you know, once you reach a certain level of confidence in your parenting, you know, you have to understand that you have more power than you think you have. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys who the funny thing is, when I try to talk to fathers or, you know, other men about them stepping their game up as it relates to parenting or playing a bigger role in their child's life, guys fight me more than anything. They fight me about their own value. Like, I'll say, listen, you know, you can get custody of your child. Oh, nah, man, I can't do that, man. I got it. It's always something. I got it. You know what I mean? I got 4 kids. Each one I cut the umbilical cord, took them home myself and raised them. Got 2-3 jobs, car, house, by myself, no support. When my kids are with me, my kids are with me. I don't have to drop them off at cousin house, auntie house. I don't need this person, that person. When you need all of that, that's why people control you. When you put yourself in a situation to be controlled, when you put yourself in a situation to be talked down to, when you put yourself in a situation where you are the second parent, guess what? You are the second parent. What I like to tell people, here's a good phrase that I like to say. You are what you say you are, right? So if you're sitting there saying to me, yeah, man, I mean, that's her kids. I'm just here. Then guess what? You're right. You are. You know what I mean? You are what you say you are. So you want to fall back, you want to chill, you want to, pretend that you don't matter as much as a parent because I guess maybe your parents told you that, or maybe your parents told you that. All the people who had lacks of fathers in their life who don't understand what a real father is, you letting those people dictate to you what a father is. If you think about the people who are trying to tear you down as a father, the people who are telling you negative things about your fatherhood, your capability, listen to how they talk to you. You think they respect you? You know what I mean? And these are the people you're getting advice from. You have to take a second and step back. Think about the relationship they had with their father. Think about the relationship their kids have with their father. Think about the relationship their friends have with their father. Nowhere in the picture are you normally going to find a strong man who's there supporting the child. Normally, you have a strong woman who's dictating to the man how he can be in the child's life, which is completely unacceptable. If the parent of my child were to try that, I'm taking my child, period, and I'm raising them. Now, all men are not capable of that, and that's completely understandable. You know what I mean? Like everybody has different situations. This is not for everybody, honestly and truthfully, and that's one of the things that I like to tell fathers as well from the get-go when I'm giving them help. You have to understand where you fall, where you lie. If you're in a position where you're sitting saying to me, I'm second to mom, mom is more important than dad, you need to stay where you are, because you're not going to be beneficial to your child, because you already have a mind of defeat going in. You're not as valuable to the child as the mother by your own definition. So in those cases, just do what you have to do. And in a lot of those cases, your child's life is not in jeopardy. So if your child is being raised properly by the mother, then what are we talking about here? If your child is being raised properly by the mother, then that's not a relevant conversation to what we're having here. We're talking about situations where children are being abused, neglected, alienated from their other parent. All of those things are taking place. If none of that is going on and you just mad at your baby mama because she broke up with you, or she mad at you because you broke up with her, or y'all just can't get along, that doesn't have nothing to do with the child. That's your business, and I don't care. Like, you need to grow up and get over that. But if your child is being negatively impacted while being raised by the other parent, it is neglectful for you not to take them. That is your job. That is the job of a parent. If you're, and I feel like you have to understand your role and where you stand. If you're one of those people who's just comfortable with accepting the norm, or you feel like, well, I tried one time and it didn't work, so I'm not trying again. There's a lot of guys who give me that. Well, I went to court and they were saying she won. Okay, so what? So now you just give up and your child loses? That's where we at right now? Like, don't listen. I have custody of my children. Do you understand that? And I'm about to go to court on Tuesday to finalize it, to take it. 3 years ago, my mom, everybody in my family, lawyers, everybody told me I was stupid. Everybody said, you dumb. You think you're going to get kids from there? No, blah, 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 blah. You can't do that, blah, blah, blah. That's what they all going to tell you. Because first of all, the system is designed for the mom to have the child, because they need welfare to keep going in order for the districts to get a certain amount of money. And this is bigger than people understand. People are just peons. They don't understand the way this works. This is all conceptually set up. So there's only a couple of us who's capable of overstanding this, right? And my goal is to sort of unite the ones who are, and get us together and sort of infect other parents. And we can make fathers feel strong. You know what I mean? Fathers are at an all-time weakness right now. You know what I mean? Like in general, they don't have backbone. Like a father won't even stand up for his own rights. He'll just be like, well, she said I can't see him. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you'll find a woman right behind him supporting it. Yeah, that's right. You can't see him. See if you can pay child support. Or be nice to her. That's what everybody told me. Be nice to her, man. Get her some flowers or something. She might let you see him. That's the coward way out. That's the way they teach you to do. But my point is, bro, I didn't even see he had a. They're not fighting you. They're fighting themselves. And the truth is hard to get over pride and face reality for some, but still no excuses. Yeah, Sean, that you sent that so long ago. I don't know what you really was responding to. But I agree with you slightly on that. I do agree with you on the fact that, but still no excuses. I don't know if you're saying no excuses like the father shouldn't have any excuse or what. But listen, my point is, I believe personally, I haven't run into a situation where I've seen a father that I could not help in terms of him being able to get his children and be in his children's life. And the biggest problem is normally the father. Like, to be honest with you, every time I talk to a guy, yeah, man, I ain't seen my kids in months. Why you ain't seen your kids in months? Well, here's the crazy thing, right? Guys value monetary stuff more than they value their children, right? Sometimes, and this is why I say, look at my video, manufacturing a bond between yourself and your child. It's very important. This is how you artificially create the love inside you that moms have that innate ability to have, right? But a lot of times, for instance, if you take a guy's car and you disappear with his car for 2 weeks, he is on you. You hear me, right? If you take a guy's chain or his watch and you disappear, he's on you, right? If a guy, no excuses not to read. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm with you on that. Sean. Exactly. But I get a lot of guys that argue with me about it, saying, well, that's her, that's her kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I do what I got, whatever. But anyway, my point is, guys will fight you. They will fight you over things that are valuable to them. So to me, if you're not willing to fight over your child, it in itself says how valuable they are to you. I mean, think about it. If somebody stole some money from you and they had your money, and I said, yo, that guy got your money, you are going to go get that money. You're not going to sit there and say, well, I mean, he did take it, when I wasn't looking, or, the last time I tried to get it, they said it wasn't mine, so I ain't going to try. Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to do that. If somebody, takes your car, you hunting them down till you get your car. You're not going to say, well, the last judge said that it wasn't my car, so I ain't going to appeal it because they already said no. Like, come on. It's such a cop-out. It's like, it's crazy because I see guys that will fight and go hand, they will fight for these things, these possessions, these things that they're taught their whole life value. But when it comes to their child, they just like, I mean, bro, like, what you want me to do? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and listen, let me first off say this. I do understand there's a little bit of, because I was that guy. Let me be completely honest. I was that guy where all I had, I had the mindset of, first of all, this is deep, man, because like when it comes to the baby mama, baby daddy thing, you become sort of enslaved to the mom mentally, right? I was under a spell, if you will, where I thought like, as long as I have sex with my baby mama, everything's okay. And to be honest with you, everything was okay as long as I was doing that, right? The second you stop doing that, in my case, it was sex, but it could be other things. It could be you buying them stuff. It could be you giving them stuff, or them taking advantage of you. But the second you stop doing that, or you get another girlfriend, or you do anything, once that happens, the true colors show about how they really value you as a father, or lack thereof. It comes out, right? And then once that comes out, how you deal with it is up to you. Now, in my case, I had to deal with it a little bit differently than other fathers would deal with it. And that was primarily because my children's lives were at jeopardy. My daughters were being committed into Shepherd Pratt with suicidal thoughts. My daughters were grabbing my arm when I come up to their school saying, please don't take me back. Like stuff like that. When stuff like that is happening to you, that motivates you and makes you do more, right? So all fathers don't necessarily have that. And they also have a little bit of ignorance as it comes to their value as a parent. A lot of them think that once a child is born, it's the mom's child. Let me also say, when it comes to ignorance, you want to understand that it depends on the jurisdiction that you're in as well, because every state is different, right? Certain states have certain laws, but in the state of Maryland, when a child is born, there is no custodial parent. I want everybody to know that. When a child is born, there is no custodial parent. So if the mother is the custodial parent, it's because she acted and you didn't. That's what that means. So if you're in a situation where mom has the kids and you don't have them, and you're like, oh man, they hers, you know what that means? That means she acted and you didn't. That means she said, this is my child. I want to go take care of my child. I'm going to make sure it's on paper. And you said, that's her child. She's going to go do it. So when you come to court and you're like, well, yeah, I want to get my child, I want custody. They're like, well, wait a second. Why you want it now? Where were you when the child was born? Like, I think personally, you should think of it like a prenup, like a prenuptial agreement when you get married, right? If you feel like the other parent might try to pull this on you, this whole child support, child custody, controlling and ruling your life, the thing that's single-handedly destroying the Black community, if you feel like that's gonna happen, first off, don't have sex with a girl that you don't want to have babies with. That's number one. Number two, if you do, go get a custody order immediately. Immediately. As soon as the child is born, go to the court. Day one, go to the court and file for custody, split custody. That way, nobody has an edge over anybody. You're literally saying this child was just born. I want 50-50 split physical and legal custody. You do that, and initially she has no ability to go and put you on child support. She has no ability to take the kids from you. None of that. And you can actually request from the lawyer, from the judge, that they put something in the order that allows the law to intervene if things get too out of hand, right? Because one thing that women use against fathers to sort of get an edge over them is our attitude and our aggression. And we're very like passionate and angry, which is what makes us better parents in a lot of cases. But, you know, if you guys get into a custody dispute and they say the right things to you and you react, they can get a protective order against you and you'll never see your kids, right? So here's what you have to do. You have to play, you have to understand that this is chess, not checkers, right? That's how I won mine. This is chess, not checkers. Don't play into that. What you have to do is understand the way the law works and understand the way things have to, understand the way the cookie has to crumble in order for it to play out on your side. If you have a woman who is, you know, narcissistic, evil, mean, just spiteful, create a record of evidence proving that and show it to the judge. Normally, if a woman is that reckless and that, you know, to the point where she doesn't even care about her own child, she's going to show it. You know what I mean? They're incapable of hiding that. It's just in them. It's how they are. You know what I mean? I've dealt with one for years now. So they're going to make it very clear that they're the crazy, you know, ratchet mom who don't really give a fuck about the child. It's just all about their control. They just want dominance over the situation. And the judge will see that. Now, in some cases, you will have judges who see that and still say, nah, that's okay. I'm going to give it to mom. And the reason they do that is because dads are less likely to fight, right? You have to understand, judges do not want cases overturned. They don't want cases appealed. They don't want their words questioned, right? If you take a child from a mother, you're going to have people from all which ways questioning you, right? But if you take a child from a father, nobody's going to do anything. Not even the father's going to do anything. The father's going to say, oh, that's what the judge said. Okay. He's not going to appeal. And the lawyer is going to tell him not to appeal because he already took your money and he don't need you for nothing else. Lawyers don't have your best interest at heart. Any father who's trying to get custody of your child and you're listening to your lawyer, I'm sorry. Okay. Unless you like know that lawyer personally and you know for a fact that he's on your side. But trust me, a lawyer is not going to tell you can get custody as a father. I mean, not even with proof, they're not going to tell you that, because at the end of the day, that goes against the system. It just doesn't work that way. It's not designed to work that way. So don't think that a lawyer is going to, you should use a lawyer for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to expose the law. You should use a lawyer as a reference, somebody that you call and say, hey, I was thinking about this. Is this legal? Or, hey, what statute, what, rule, number, letter do I reference for this? Or, for instance, there was a situation where I had evidence that was inadmissible to court that I didn't know about. And there's a certain rule that says that evidence can still be provided. I didn't know that. So I just let the evidence go. And this was a CPS evaluation, which specifically said that the children should be with me. That was not allowed to be put into the record because of some rule that her lawyer brought up and got it thrown out, right? Little stuff like that. That's what you need a lawyer for, because they know those little loopholes and things. But when it comes to caring about your child, knowing the facts about what's best for your child, knowing what took place, you don't need a lawyer for that. A lawyer will hurt you because a lawyer does not know the real. A lawyer only knows what you tell them and what they dig up themselves. And a lot of that is not going to be, evidence is not enough. You know what I mean? Like evidence is really just I don't know how to say this, man. The best thing I would say is if you're one of those people out there, yes, do your own research, fuck a lawyer. I feel you on that. Definitely. That's what I did. I self-represented myself for 3 years. However, Sean, I would still say, bro, like, even though you do say, do your own research, you still should get a lawyer. Like, honestly, and this is trust me, I've been through 7, 8 court cases where I represented myself, appeals, everything. I filed a modification, a motion for reconsideration, all of those things, man. When she violated the custody order, I filed a consent. What is it called? The thing that you file when they violate the order so that you can get them called back in and everything. I forgot what it's called, but even though you might research and find out all those things, you still want to have a lawyer also because of the fact that your emotions will run high when you're in court, because the other person's going to say things that's going to get under your skin, especially if you love your child. I mean, think about this, man. Like I said, I cut my kids' umbilical cord, brought them both home and raised them from day one. And I had to sit in court and listen to the mother of my children say that I avoided them, that I personally avoided them, that my daughter cried on her birthday because I wouldn't come, when it was the exact reverse, that my daughter cried for me to be there. So when you hear something like that and somebody's talking about you in a way where you know it's not true, you're going to flip out. I mean, it's hard not to. If you don't, chances are you don't care that much. But as a man, that's just how we are. We have that animosity in us for the love for our children, and we'll do anything for the love for our children. I'm showing that myself. I cut off everybody over my children because my children matter more than anybody. So at the end of the day, you know what I mean? You have to make that decision. But just make sure that you study the laws. If you are going to self-represent, I would look up some videos from different lawyers out there. There's like, and always make sure that you know your jurisdiction, because every jurisdiction is different. Like in Baltimore County is different than Anne Arundel County. Like I literally had a case in Baltimore County where my lawyer told me if I was in Anne Arundel County, I would have won, because they reference a different case or something like that. I forgot what it was, but there was something that she was saying, hey, if it was in Anne Arundel County, and they even bring up stuff like the judges in this jurisdiction are different than the judges in this jurisdiction. This whole thing is political, man. You got to understand that. Like, they don't care about these kids. They don't care where the kids go. This is about redlining. If you're familiar with redlining, that's where they zone out different areas of the city and the county to put certain people in certain areas to keep them disparaged. Like Essex, for instance. Essex, why you think Essex is full of a bunch of black people now that's going through tough times? That ain't no accident. That was done there. They moved them there. And anybody who has a custody case in that area, the judge already has a predisposed view of you. Like, they're already going to make certain decisions because it's just meant to be that way. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is depending on where you are, the way you approach it, what you look like, how you act. And that's why it's good to get a lawyer, because a lawyer will take all of that out of the picture. Now, it's hard to get a lawyer a lot of times if you don't have money, like good money. You know what I mean? I managed to get a lawyer after 3+ years because I went to the legal aid bureau, right? So I would recommend anybody, there's a legal aid bureau in the county in Towson, and there's a legal aid bureau. What's up? What's up, D? Appreciate you stopping by, man. For any fathers out there who would be looking, what's up, son? If any fathers out there who would be looking to get a lawyer, you don't have a lot of money or support or anything, what I would recommend is you try the legal aid bureau. There's one for Baltimore County in Towson, and there's one for the city downtown on Gay Street, right by City Hall. I've been in both of them. I've been up and down the everything with them, man. They're gonna put you through a lot. I'll be honest with you, especially depending on where you are and what you look like and everything. They're gonna put you through a little bit, but stay strong and don't listen to them. Just this is a really tough conversation to have, because there's certain things I'm working with a lawyer right now, and there's certain things I don't want to necessarily like come out and say. But what I'm saying is, like, at the end of the day, understand what they can do to benefit you and what they can't, right? So tell them certain things. I'm not saying be dishonest, but I'm saying tell them certain things and maybe certain things not, right? Because they're going to immediately put you in a box. Go in talking to this lawyer expecting them to be against you, right? And that way you will, kind of not be so let down once you have a lawyer say things to you that make you feel like, what the hell, do you not care about my kid? Like, you know what I mean? And you'll understand it's just business, man. That's all it is. It's just business. Like, I feel like if lawyers were to say that, it would make it a lot easier for people. If they just say, look, man, No hard feelings. It's just business. You're just a client. Because at the end of the day, you are thinking about your kids. My kids are named Journey and Justice for those who do or do not know. You obviously should if you know me. But, for Journey and Justice, for me, Journey and Justice are my heart and soul and my everything. To my lawyer, they are client number 147. You know what I mean? And he has 146 other ones. And he's just like, okay, like, you know what I mean? And then right when he hangs up the phone with you after you're telling him this crazy experience you just had with your baby mama, how you ain't seen your kids, blah, 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 he's listening to another guy who's going to call him right after that, who has the same thing, except he has a prior or violent history or felony, or he hit her and then lied to him and said he didn't hit her. So now the lawyer's looking at you like you probably hit her and the lying too. What I'm saying is, like, you just can't have somebody do the work for you. And a lot of people want to do that. And I understand it because it's hard dealing with this stuff, man. I had a mental breakdown. In January. I was down in what is it, Harbor Hospital, in the what is it, the behavioral unit. You know what I mean? I had a breakdown, bro. Like, I literally had a breakdown. I was at work. I couldn't stop crying. I was shaking because I miss my daughter so much, man. And your demons will eat you up inside because you want them, you love them, and everything in you is saying you do, but everybody around you is saying you don't. And everybody is trying to say that you don't, and you will lose it in your mind, like you really will, if you don't stay focused. You got to stay focused, stay on key. And that's, again, bringing me back to the reason that I wanted to do this, so that we can sort of create a network. Those father pages that I mentioned before, Dad Gang, Daddy VTs, I miss my children, fathers are important, Daddy Times, like all of those pages that I follow, and you guys support me as well. We need to link up, get together, DM, and start creating some sort of a platform for us on a daily basis to get together as fathers and talk about experiences, talk about things we can do with our children. The one thing that I always tell parents to do is write your child a letter, man. Write them a letter, write something sweet. I love you. Say something like, I'm nothing without you. I don't know what I would be without you, where I would be. Put that on their nightstand when they wake up in the morning. Let them read it. Do that on a regular basis, man. Just keep wowing your child. Act like it's that girl that you want to get with, right? Because when a guy see a girl and she cute and he want her, he do everything for her. He'll kill a nigga over her. He'll fight a nigga over her. He do everything over her. But with your child, it's just up in the air, right? So the thing is, we have to sort of, and it's not really that it's up in the air. I'm being sarcastic. What it is that we don't understand that we have that value. Nobody tells it to you. Like, honestly, we have, as Black men, we have kids and they just look at you like, all right, time to be daddy. And you like, what? How I'm supposed to know that? Like, what? Like, who taught you to be a father? Who says this to you? Who sits you down and says, this is what fatherhood is? This is how you be a father. This is the things you should and should not do. This is your value as a father. Who does that? Nobody. If you have a father, he's not teaching you how to be a dad. He's teaching you how to fight. He teaches you how to beat people up. He teaching you how to be tough. He teaching you how to not cry. He teaching you, if I see you cry, I'm gonna punch you in your chest. He teaching you all that dumb shit. But he ain't teaching you how to be a father. He's not teaching you that. Like, and that's what we need. That's what we need in our communities. We need to let go of all this dumb stuff that was taught to us to keep us oppressed and keep us where we are, and and get us on another level, man. That's where I'm at with things. That's where my life is. That's where I get my value from. Like I said before, validation, self-worth, and value. My validation comes from being a good father. That's why I surround myself with people who expect that of me. If I do not be a good father, there are people who look down on me. There are people who know me strictly for being a father. I don't even allow people to be in my presence if you are not going to be on a level that I place parents when you're around me. That's why a lot of people, we cool online, or we could do it. We could shoot the shot all day online. That's cool. We can hang out on our own, cool. But when my kids come in, you already know I'm a whole nother dude. You're not doing nothing inappropriate around my daughters. Point blank, period. And I only say my daughters because they're the only kids that I share with a parent who doesn't agree with that, who does allow people to do inappropriate things, does allow people to place these kids in jeopardy, does allow people to neglect the kids and leave them wherever they want to leave them and drop them off. And, all that kind of stuff that we grew up doing. Like, we grew up where it was okay to just drop your kid off at somebody's house and disappear for days. That's cool. Just take he over at my friend's house. Like, you don't do that. Don't do that. That's the reason so many kids have been touched growing up. That's the reason I can honestly say that I was touched growing up. That's the reason I can honestly say that, I've been abused growing up. I have adults that beat the shit out of me growing up. who's my mom left me with and didn't check on me. And then they got all these excuses. Well, I had to work. Okay, then you shouldn't have had a kid. Oh, well, I got a lot going on. Then what you have a kid for? I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? That's cop out. I don't want to hear that. Your child need to be with you or the father, period. If they were anybody else and something happened to that child, that's your fault. And that's what you have to grow up as a man and realize and get the gall. And I don't want to say the gall, but the confidence to say, I have the confidence to look my mother in her eyes and say that to her now. Whereas most cannot, right? Most cannot because they won't let you. But that's also the reason why my mom won't talk to me, because she's afraid to face those demons. But right now, the point is, I say that to other parents. You know, I can say these things to them and say, well, I'm not going to say it in such an aggressive manner, but I'll let them know, like, listen, here's my question. Why do you drop your child off at a stranger's house? Why is that okay? Oh, because I got work. So here's my thing then. If you know somebody who is about to have a kid, because it's too late for you, I guess, you already had the kid, whatever, you put yourself in a situation where you have to put your kid in a situation where they can be touched and you make excuses for it, right? But what you can do is you can say to other parents who are not in this situation yet, don't do this, don't do that. But instead we run around and we support it. You know, people are having kids even though they know that they're unprepared for it. And then everybody else is supporting it. Because we've all been taught that this failed method of parenting that we all grew up under is okay, and it's not. It is not okay, and that's what causes you to get banned, extradized, and put out of the family when you start saying stuff I'm saying. When you start speaking up, when you start being a man, that's when people are like, "Whoa, I don't know what's wrong with him. He crazy. Oh no, he crazy. He talking about, you know what I mean?" So what I want to do is sort of give the same confidence to other fathers, because regardless of what anybody feel, your children will respect you for it. My children are queens, and my son is a king to be. They see what I say. The things that I'm talking, I teach my children. My children right now tell me that they want to grow up to help parents stay with their children right now. Like my daughter wants to be a lawyer to help families stay together because she understands the nuances that are causing this. You know what I mean? She's going to be, Anyway, guys, look, man, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping up soon. The whole purpose of me doing this video, again, was to sort of just start some dialogue with everybody. I wanted to touch base with some of my YouTube followers, obviously my Instagram followers as well who are watching. I just wanted everybody to get a chance to touch base with me, ask any questions you may or may not have, which I've gotten none thus far. However, if you have any while you're watching this back, comment, DM me, whatever, man. Any fathers out there, I don't care who you are. Parenting is more important to me than anything. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care what else you do. If you want to raise your child correctly and you want to support other parents doing it, get with me. Let's try to make something. I got my mornings free. You know what I mean? And if I don't, I can make time around it where we can come together and we can just have conversations. We can do side by sides. I do have a stream service that I can use to put us side by side. We can have some conversations. Just sort of talk, shoot the shit. You know what I mean? People do it about other stuff. You sit there and you talk all day about love and hip hop and all this other dumb shit that they using to poison our community and keep people dumbed down. You know what I mean? That's why they right now about to commit genocide and kill a lot of us, but everybody's so busy worried about what Brandy and Monica did and all this other dumb shit that they, putting in your mind because you're not smart enough to wake up. The same thing goes with fathers in terms of parenting. Guys are so worried about, oh, let me hit this club, let me hit this chick, oh, let me get this money, let me get this car, oh, let me, post this video with me flexing. They so worried about that they don't understand that their child's life is passing them by. They don't understand that when they go to pick up their child call him David instead of daddy, or their child say, oh, hi, Mike, instead of hi, dad, because they don't have a connection with you. And you think it's because mom is doing it, but it really could be you. You know what I mean? A lot of times moms are not single-handedly responsible for destroying a relationship between the child and the father. The father does that himself. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you don't even understand that you're doing it. And it's because of your lack of confidence. It's because of your lack of confidence in yourself. And honestly, I hate to say it, but a lot of times it's your parents' fault. It's your parents' fault. It is your parents' fault because they failed you. They failed to give you the confidence you need as a man. They sat and talked around about men like they was shit their whole life. I remember being 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, nothing but about a bunch of aunts and women sitting around talking about how men ain't shit. How the hell am I supposed to think I matter? So you mean to tell me when I grow up and I'm a father, I'm supposed to think I matter now? Oh, all the stuff you said about my dad is different than me? How? How am I different? You raised me to be just like him. They sit there and talk about he ain't shit, he don't do nothing but cheat and get women. But then they raise you, oh, he's so cute, he gonna be a heartbreaker. Same shit all over again. They don't know how to make a man. You know what I mean? Men gotta make men. So I need my men to stand up. Stop being cowards. Stand up. You know what I mean? Stand up for this. If you the better parent, make it known. Make it known. The same way you make it known you got all these bands. Same way you make it known you got all these jewelry and all of that. Make it known you the top parent. Brag about that, man. Feel good about that, man. That's the surrounding that I need in order to keep me on my toes. It's your boy JGiddins, man. Please remember to be positive, optimistic. Keep positive people in your circle, man. I love y'all. Make sure to follow my pages, man. Follow my YouTube, subscribe, follow my Instagram, and follow me on YouTube. All right. Love you guys. Your boy JGiddins out.